I woke up today and I decided I'm gonna be controversial because I really believe that overspending is not a budgeting problem. I'm talking to those people who keep going back to the same toxic cycle of impulsive spending, buying unnecessary stuff, boodle shopping, or retail therapy, even though you know it's toxic, even though you know your wallet is not gonna be happy with it. In this video, I'm going to tell you the real problem you need to solve if you want to break that cycle for good, because it's definitely not going to be found in financial trackers, in budgeting templates, and budgeting apps. Tell me why I know, because I've been there myself. So let's get into it. In my journey as a former shopaholic for years to now having my first million pesos net worth, I can tell you straight that no strict budget, financial template, or budgeting app will fix your overspending problem until you dig deep and uncover the root cause problem. Because here's the thing that people don't realize is that a money problem is just a surface level problem. Overspending is just a surface level problem. And if you keep looking for surface level solutions, like what I just said earlier, the cycle is going to keep going back and back. Because every money problem is just a symptom of a much deeper underlying root problem. If you keep going back to the same toxic cycle, if you're just so addicted to shopping, if you can control yourself with your purchases, there's a deeper root problem that you need to be aware of, and that will not be fixed by a budgeting app or a financial template. You need to identify the root cause problem that triggers your spending, that triggers that toxic cycle that you keep going back to. When I talk about the root cause problem, it is not, oh, it's because I keep looking at the shopping apps. Oh, it's because my friend is so toxic, she keeps telling me to buy all the boodles because it's her recommendations. Oh, it's because I keep seeing the savings I have in my bank account, I need to put it in a different bank account so I don't see it and so I won't spend it. Those are just surface level triggers. Okay? Having been coaching Filipino professionals for years now in building sustainable money habits and systems, I can tell you the solution is not found in micromanaging your expenses, in having strict budgets, in recording every single expense in a budgeting app, or having a no-buy month, or having a no-buy year. None of that. I'll tell you where it's actually found. The root cause problem is found in the subconscious beliefs you have about yourself that bleed into how you spend. Let that sink in for a bit. That the root cause of your overspending problem is found in the subconscious beliefs about yourself that bleed into how you spend. Simply put, how you spend mirrors how you view yourself. How you spend mirrors how you view your worth. It goes way deeper than following the 7-20-10 budgeting rule, the budgeting apps, the budgeting hacks, the financial templates you see on TikTok, here on YouTube. Even I myself have a free financial tracker in my email list, but that's really just a surface level solution. If you want to break the cycle for good and build sustainable money habits and systems for the rest of your life, then you need to uncover these deeper root problems that are deeply conditioned in your subconscious mind, which are the beliefs that you have about yourself. Because having been trained and certified as a money mindset and life coach, this is what I've learned, that 90% of the habits we form are from our subconscious mind, where our belief system is stored. That means your purchasing habits, your saving habits, your inconsistency with your habits, your frustration with not sticking to your budgets, you not being consistent with your savings targets. If you want to build a new habit that sticks, where you become consistent with your saving, when you get to be in control of your purchasing habits, then you need to understand the subconscious mind. You need to be aware of the subconscious beliefs about yourself that make you want to keep going back to the same toxic cycle of overspending. This is what my clients realize when they work with me and finally break the cycle of their shopping addiction in the first 60 days of working with me, is that it goes way deeper. We get deep into what are their beliefs about themselves, what do they think about their worth? What is their view of themselves? Because that becomes a reflection of how they spend. If you don't believe you deserve great things in life, if you feel like you don't deserve to prioritize yourself, you're going to keep settling for the small rewards. You're going to keep settling for instant gratification because you don't think you deserve to prioritize your big dreams. If you don't think you are good enough, you're capable enough to start that business, to pivot in your career, then you're going to use shopping as a coping mechanism to find some kind of passion and purpose in your life, but it doesn't really fill anything. It's just an endless void. And so that's why I've seen it in my life when I didn't believe that I was good enough, capable enough, worthy enough to pursue the big dreams that I have, to quit my job, to start my business. That made me use shopping, retail therapy as a coping mechanism to deal with stress with work. When in reality, I was going through a quarter life crisis that like I'm waking up and I have no sense of passion and purpose in my life. And so might as well buy the sale, buy the boodle, buy the skincare, buy the makeup, buy the clothes. Because that at least I know is going to give me some burst of happiness, some temporary form of happiness that like at least may napuntahan yung pinagtrabahuhan ko. At least I was able to give myself that deserve ko to feeling, right? But isn't that just so temporary? Because again, it goes back to the belief you have about yourself. This is what is not talked about enough in the financial space. That if you are stuck in the impulsive buying, the unnecessary spending, in the overspending, in the recurring debts, it's not gonna be solved by a magic template. You need to look inward and like, what are the beliefs and thoughts I have about myself that makes me keep going back to the same cycle? So let me give you real life examples from my clients on what were those beliefs that have held them back and that bled into spending, so that you can really visualize how this manifests in your spending as well. So I have this client who asked for a financial system audit because he found himself overspending in the past month. And he shared that I've been feeling insecure lately, and so I bought the skincare, the clothes, the protein supplements in order to make me feel good about myself, that I'm improving myself. There's nothing wrong about improving yourself and buying all these things, but there was something that I wanted to explore, which is why my client felt insecure at that point in time, because that was the trigger that led him to overspend. And so during our coaching call, I got curious and I wanted him to dig deeper and understand what really was the root cause trigger. So I asked him, like, was there an event or moment recently that made you feel insecure? And that's when I got him to slowly open up that he felt rejected recently by someone, and that made him feel not good enough. That was the belief that triggered his overspending. That was the belief in his mind, oh, I'm not good enough, so I'm gonna buy things to compensate for that feeling, to make me feel like I'm improving myself, so I will be enough for this person. That's the root cause. That is the root cause problem, the root cause trigger that led him to compensating, buying stuff, and then overspending. This is what I mean, that when you overspend, it's not just because, oh, I bought too much skincare, so I'm not gonna buy skincare in the next month. Oh, I saw that I bought too much food that month, therefore, I'm not gonna buy that much food the next month. That is a surface level solution. That is basically just the tip of the iceberg. You need to dig deeper and look underneath that iceberg, which is so much bigger, right? And that's what I love helping my clients with, is for them to dig deep and become aware of their beliefs about themselves that bleed into their spending, so that when they encounter those feelings again, they know how to deal with it differently. For this particular client, I coached him in facing those emotions around not feeling good enough and validating those emotions and challenging those beliefs, so that he could come out of the coaching call feeling more empowered and feeling like there is another way for me to cope with those feelings. There's another way for me to deal with those feelings, for me to face it in a healthy way. Because what we don't realize is that buying stuff in order to cope with those feelings don't solve the problem. In reality, it makes it worse, right? When you don't have awareness of these root cause triggers, the cycle is just gonna keep going back and back because the root cause is still there. So with this particular client, I helped him in shifting his mindset around what happened, around that rejection, and also realizing that there are other healthy ways to cope with negative emotions or negative feelings in the future, so that when it happens again, he knows that he's capable of dealing with them in a way that will actually solve the problem instead of burying and denying the problem. Because that's what I realized, is that spending is actually just a distraction from the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. Whether, for example, for this particular client, it was buying was a distraction not to face that he was hurt, his ego was hurt, his pride was hurt, and all of that, right? And so this is how I really help my clients dig deep in understanding the root cause triggers of their purchases, so that the cycle doesn't repeat again. OMG, I realized that my mic wasn't on, so I'm sorry for that audio there, but now it's on, so bear with me. Before I dive into another client example of why overspending is not a budgeting problem, if this has resonated with you so far, I really recommend you watch my free training where I dive into this concept a lot more. It's all about how to be financially free with one income stream at a time, because you have built sustainable money habits and systems as the foundational skill for your version of financial freedom. So I will share here my 3-step roadmap to financial freedom that has allowed me to build my first million pesos net worth, and it really dives into my journey from being a shopaholic, being in my quarter life crisis, and now being able to fund my huge life milestones today because I have this solid financial foundation. And I also dive into there how all of your financial goals, if you want to achieve them this year, it's gonna go way deeper than all of the budgeting rules and budgeting hacks that you have already tried. It's gonna go way deeper into the mindset, because most of the time it's not a budgeting problem, it's a mindset problem. So when you watch this free training, you're going to realize that everything that you've ever known about your finances at this point that has not allowed you to achieve your goals, you're gonna know why that is the case. And I have so many client examples there as well, so you can really imagine how possible it is for you to break the cycle of overspending, cycle of recurring debts, cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, so that you'd finally be able to see your savings grow in your bank account without depriving yourself, because you're able to balance enjoying the fruits of your labor while saving up for your future goals. Recently, someone told me who was at free training told me like she cannot believe that training was free because she got so much insights. It was so helpful to where she was. So you really have nothing to lose but more the gain. So watch that free training by signing up through the link below with your email, and then I will email you that training video straight to your inbox. All right, now moving on to the next client example of why overspending is not a budgeting problem. So I have this client who's a doctor, and she came to me with the struggle of constantly overspending because she dealt with stress in work, with buying, with retail therapy, with shopping. So every time she was stressed with work, especially as a doctor, it's like a lot of shifts, a lot of long shifts. She would get into retail therapy a lot, and she was tired of not being able to control her spending habits, so she enrolled in my program. With this case, when it comes to retail therapy, what I help my clients with is really understanding the root cause of the stress. What triggers the stress? Because again, the stress triggers you to spend. So now let's work backwards. What's causing stress? After a few sessions, I helped her dig deep into the root of the stress, which is that not necessarily the work, because she loves her work as a doctor with her specialization there. She realized that it's not about that. It's more of she kept taking more work because she's scared to speak up about her boundaries. So instead of like saying like, actually no, like I can't work on the weekends, or no, I don't want to take more shifts, because she's scared to bring that up, she's gonna get stressed. She is gonna be overworked. And so if she's overworked, she's gonna go back to retail therapy. She's going to use shopping as a scapegoat for her stress, for all of her work problems. So shopping was really just a temporary band-aid solution for dealing with stress. What will actually solve the problem is increasing that confidence and trust in herself to speak up for herself at work that, hey, I'm not really available on weekends, or hey, I actually have previous engagements in my calendar, so I won't be able to take up on that. And it's really speaking up and trusting her voice, that knowing her boundaries is okay. Being firm with her boundaries at work is okay. when I helped her dig deeper around this is that growing up in her childhood, she realized that she was always told to say yes to authority figures because that's what it means to be obedient. That's what it means to be a good daughter. That's what it means to be good in life, is that you just say yes to people who are older than you, people who have authority over you, and not realizing that in the process of that, she has forgotten about her own voice. She has forgotten about checking in with herself. Is that okay with me? Is that fine with me? Is that really what I want? Is that really where I want to spend my time on? And that's what I really helped her with, is really building up that voice again, is making that inner voice louder again and trusting that it's okay to listen to my body. It's okay to listen to myself that this is not what I want and this is what I want. So that became the bulk of our coaching session so that she could stop the overspending for good. And that's what solved the problem. Is that when I helped her in making decisions around speaking up for herself, being firm with her boundaries with work, with her colleagues, with her boss, with her supervisors, that's when she realized, like, I don't need to use shopping as a coping mechanism anymore with the stress at work, because I have decreased the stress at work significantly already. That has already solved my problem, and I learned to speak up for myself because I know what I want. I know what I deserve. I know where I want to spend my time and energy on. Therefore, I'm not going to compensate with shopping in order to deal with my work problems, in order to deal with my stress at work. This is what I mean, that how you spend mirrors how you view yourself. Like with this client of mine, when she didn't think that I can say no. If I say no, I'm a bad person. If I say no, like, I'm scared to get people's reactions. People are gonna get mad at me. People are gonna reject me and all of that. And so that mindset, that belief about herself led her to just keep saying yes to everyone, being obedient to everyone, being not realizing that it was bleeding into her spending, that made her spending worse and worse, and it kept going back to the same cycle. And this is what I mean, that shopping is just a temporary band-aid solution to your problems, and oftentimes overspending manifests in the problems you're refusing to confront, right? Because it's so much easier to just buy the thing and not think about the problem, like a distraction, as I've talked about. And so what I help my clients with is confront, identify, what are those problems that they don't want to face? What are those problems that they think they're not capable of solving? Because that is the root problem that we need to understand, we need to get curious around, we need to solve. Because from there, that's what allows them to break the cycle. That's what allows them to realize that I deserve so much better than instant gratification. I deserve to be that person who's able to solve these problems and come out as a better person as a result. I love how my client said it, that it's a root cause analysis. This was the root cause analysis that allowed her to break free from overspending, from impulsive buying, from retail therapy. This is the real work that I guide my clients with, that allows them to break the cycle and eventually build a sustainable financial system that they actually stick to for the rest of their lives. Like, I don't want you to just follow a budgeting hack that will work for a month, 2 months. No, you deserve to have a financial system that you stick to for the rest of your life, as long as you live, as long as you're breathing and alive, that you feel confident that you're gonna stick to the financial system because you have solved the root cause triggers. Because now you know you're able to solve the problems that you used to deny yourself of, that you used to be scared of. You know what's a great analogy is, like, recently, our kitchen sink can get clogged. Okay, so basically, alam mo yung pag naguhugas ka ng pinggan, tapos dun sa gitna, meron siyang drain. And then, malalagyan ng mga food, leftover food. And so what you do is you throw the food that gets stuck in that drain, right? And so that's what I do. So I kept throwing, like, the leftover food on the surface of the, what do you call that? Sink drain? Filter? The sink drain filter in the kitchen sink. So I would just keep throwing it, right? Kasi nagkakaroon ng mga leftover food, I kept throwing that. But then I wondered, I was like, bakit hindi pa rin bumababa yung tubig? Bakit umaapaw pa rin yung tubig? Hindi bumababa yung tubig? Sabi ko, ano nangyayari? Tinanggal ko na yung pagkain doon sa surface, but how come the sink is still clogged? How come the water is still not going down? And so when I looked into it, I was like, kailangan ko tanggalin yung sink filter thing because clogged yung ilalim mismo. Yung mas deeper pa yung nag-clog. And so, this is an example of, like, we think
like the overspending, the money problems, we just need to throw away what's in the surface. In my case, it was like the leftover food in the sink filter. But it doesn't solve the problem. Umaapaw pa rin yung tubig, clogged pa rin yung sink. So it's not gonna work efficiently. It's not gonna work properly. I needed to take out all of the clogs that were getting stuck underneath it. Nandun na siya sa pipe. And so, as a tip, I actually bought a declogger. So effective. So I always use that. So yun yung, they really melt away all of the debris doon talaga sa mismong pipe. And so, ever since then, every time I do that, after a few minutes, bumabawa na yung tubig. And so, this is what I mean, that this is why I help my clients dig deep and understand, ano ba yung nagka-clog sa finances mo? Ano ba yung nagka-clog sa mindset mo that makes you keep spending and spending, and no matter what kind of financial trackers and systems you do, hindi pa rin siya nag-work. Because we need to dig deep into the root problem and find a solution that will solve that for good. In my case, my analogy was a declogger that I bought. And with my clients, I help them find a solution that is tailor-fit to whatever the root cause problem was. With that one particular client, it was feeling rejected, feeling not good enough. And then with this next particular client, it was not being able to speak up with her boundaries at work that led to her feeling stressed and overworked. I have helped so many clients with this root cause analysis, with this process. And usually it just takes them like 1-2 sessions for them to realize, oh my gosh, that's why. That is why for the longest time, I keep going back to the same cycle. And when they've realized it, it eventually frees them so much mental space, and gives them so much clarity of like, oh, that's why. And now I'm finally able to build sustainable money habits and systems because I know the root cause now, and I know I'm not gonna let it hinder me again. And the thing about this root cause analysis, it only came up because there were conversations with someone. That's what my clients realize, is that I wouldn't have realized it on my own if I just kept reflecting on my own, because I wouldn't see a different light. I wouldn't reflect in a different way. I wouldn't see a different perspective. And that's what I love with coaching, is that I get to ask my clients empowering questions, thought-provoking questions, so that they get to realize for themselves, that's why. That's why I've been holding myself back. That's why I've been going back to the same cycle. That is the root cause that I finally know, and therefore I can solve. You can only discover the root cause when you have someone you trust to have conversations around it, so that lumabas siya from the surface, and you get to realize like, this is the thing that has been stuck in your subconscious mind. Going back to what I said, is that if you want to form habits that stick, it's gonna be about working on your subconscious mind. Because yan yung subconscious beliefs that you have that you don't even realize. And that's what I love with the coaching container, is that I get to allow my clients bring up these beliefs that have been living in their subconscious mind for years, and finally be aware of it, and finally be able to solve it, so that they could break the toxic cycle for good. So if you also want that tailor-fit personalized guidance in solving the root cause of your overspending problem, so you can finally break the cycle for good and build sustainable money habits and systems in the next 60 days, then I invite you to join my coaching program, Fund Your Freedom. Check the link in my bio below, and you will read so many client success stories who have done it, who have gone through my process, who have decided to talk openly about their financial struggles and identify the root cause trigger of their purchasing habits, and finally be able to face it head on and realize that it's not going to be solved by a magic financial template. Rather, it needs to start here. It starts with my mindset. It starts with uncovering the beliefs that have subconsciously bled into my spending. And then from there, it's going to be so much easier to create a sustainable financial system that you will stick to for the rest of your life. I love that my clients tell me, like, not only did I get the financial system that I was looking for, but I was able to uproot the beliefs about myself, so I could increase my self-trust, increase my self-confidence, to be that person who is capable of making wise money decisions. And this is why I love how holistic my program is, because we do life coaching and financial coaching. Because major life decisions involve making crucial money decisions. You can't do without the other. And if you want to finally solve your money problems, I'm gonna help you dig deep in understanding what is the deeper root cause problem so that you could finally break that cycle for good and feel confident that you're able to make wise money decisions where you don't need to deprive yourself. Rather, you're able to balance enjoying the now while saving up for your future goals. If you want to chat more, if this program is a right fit for you, you have an option in my website to book a free assessment call to chat more about the gaps in your financial system, the gaps in your mindset around money, so that you can see for yourself how this process could be the right fit for you, could be the solution for you. Well, if you've resonated at any point in this video, this could really be the process for you that will allow you to break free from the toxic spending habits so that you could finally fund your next life milestones instead of procrastinating your financial goals. This is your sign to finally prioritize funding those big dreams because you are backed up with the right mindset and sustainable financial system in place. You can visit coachingwithnick.com or check the link in my bio to learn more about how you can join my coaching program, or you can also watch my free training, as I mentioned earlier, on how to be financially free with one income stream at a time. You can start there and really understand more that solving your money problems go way deeper than all of the things you have learned online. I'm going to drop a lot of truth bombs over there. And then you can also watch this video with a client success story so you could get inspired of how she was able to break free from boodle shopping, from her shopping addiction, and now able to be confident in managing her finances as a mom and business owner. So check that out, and I'll see you there.